Hi, I'm Dave Casey, founder of the Innovation Leaders Club. In this video, we're going to look at really practical ways of improving concept validation. People do validate their concept with customers and users in some cases. In fact, we're not doing it enough. But when we're doing it, what I realize is people are not necessarily doing it right. And so we capture some practical practices that you can implement, not that hard within your when you validate, and ultimately you're really going to do the right thing into your validation. From my past experience, I've seen people validating and showing concept to a user and almost asking, "Tell me how much you like my concept." Like, kind of, you cannot answer no. Like, you have to say that you like it, and so people don't even realize in some cases that they bias their question. And so let's look at some of those practical practices that can be implemented, and see you later in the video.
This video from the Innovation Leaders Club will show how to improve innovation concept validation. Do you wonder how to improve your innovation concept validation? Here are 8 pro tips to push your validation to the next level. We have developed a 60-page visual guidebook on how to develop an innovation strategy. It is a fully illustrated step-by-step guide to building the foundation of an innovation system. Click the link in the description below to download it for free. First, at least 5 concepts need to be validated for a healthy and thorough perspective. Generating reactions can often lead to an unexpected direction, so getting people to talk as much as possible by offering them a divergence of concepts is always a good approach. Next, it's important to include existing products. Position the new product against the best existing products, both the competition and your own best sellers. This is going to help you in understanding the reasons why a product performs so well.
The next tip is really about adding a concept within the portfolio that you're validating, because obviously you're trying to bring multiple options in front of your client or your user, and have one which is very different. In some cases, it's almost awkward, like it does not fit there, but it will bring all kind of good discussion. And in some cases, it makes the validation funnier, and people feel that they had a good experience doing it. And so have in mind, let's say if you're going to a car trade show and there's a kind of a concept car which is very different, and in some cases, when you look at concept car from the companies, they have some real thing that they want to validate, okay? But they kind of hide those real validation behind all kind of different things that they're just trying to experiment. In some cases, is to attract people to their booth, and so they can have questions. And so that's interesting to ensure that you can not have just one typical portfolio too similar to each other, so people don't see the difference between A, B, and C, and D. Have very different, and at least one which is really awkward, but it really does bring good discussion. So let's have a look.
The third tip is to have rebellious concepts or bizarre concepts, because if your concepts are 1/3 daring or out-of-the-box ideas, they will polarize the answer. Fourth, try to start with open-ended questions in order to understand the whys and get more feedback. It's smart to understand and learn how people think about concepts A, B, and C. When it comes to the questionnaire, start with open-ended questions, go into a funnel, and hit the numbers at the end. Whatever you do, do not suggest the answer you're looking for. It could be a good approach to build up to quantitative data at the end of your questionnaire. For tip number 5, test the attributes of your concepts. Answer the question, what attributes should I incorporate into my concept to generate value on specific needs for a target audience? The analysis of the customer answers makes it possible to highlight the attributes' contribution to the perceptions of value. After that, end with an overall word of appreciation. Focus on the extreme and major emerging findings and trends.
Next step is about how you build the answer to your questionnaire. Let's say if you're using web, for instance, sometimes people are providing too many options, and ultimately it's hard to see what is the good analysis that you can make out of this. So at one point you have to push who is answering your questionnaire, or it could be through also face-to-face, or it could be through a phone call or web call, but ultimately force who's responding to get a clear opinion if they like it or they don't like it, and don't get into the gray zone. So let's have a look at this example.
Another great tip is to force a decision with choices that polarize. This involves the need to create a range of differences or a more preferred choice. It's important that you don't use a scale of 1 to 10 for your validation at the initial stage of development. This will give you perceptions without the choice of a middle ground, thus leaving you in a gray area. Last but not least, keep in mind that everything rests in what the customer says. You may have big numbers like purchasing intent, but it's necessary to look at those open-ended questions. You can analyze the value perception and where the richness of the information lies. Most importantly, you need to understand why some concepts are poorly received while others are well received. Both perceptions pose value.
I hope you like this video. So as you've seen, those 8 tips are not that complicated to implement, and they're really going to improve the way you validate the concept. And validation is key. You will not necessarily validate all the time. Let's say it's just like an extension or like a tactical innovation to something that you're already doing. You don't necessarily have to really validate in some cases. But when you get into more strategic innovation, you get in something newer for your organization, then you have to ensure that you validate, and also that you get that learning from the validation, so you can embed those learnings and improve your value proposition, and ultimately come to the market with successful innovation. So see you in the next video.
If you haven't already done so, you can get your hands on our popular 60-page visual guidebook for free. Click the link in the description below. Don't hesitate to watch the next video to learn even more about innovation management practices.